All right, let's talk about that moment in a chess game. You know the one, that middle game fog where you just feel stuck. Well, today, we're going to cut right through that confusion and give you a clear sense of purpose for every single move. Let's get into it.
You've absolutely been here, right? The opening moves are all played out, your pieces are off their starting squares, and suddenly you're staring at the board just thinking, what now? It's this weird paralysis. And honestly, this is where a ton of games get lost. Not because of some brilliant attack from your opponent, but just from aimless moves.
So what's the antidote? It's simple, but it's so powerful. You need a plan. A plan is your compass. It's the thing that gives every move a direction, a reason to exist. It's what stops you from just shuffling your pieces around and, hoping for the best. So what even is a plan? Let's use a great definition. A plan is just a process. It can be fast or it can be slow. That's all about improving your position. That's it. This isn't about some super GM level calculation 20 moves deep. Nope. It's just about setting a basic goal and taking small, logical steps to get there. Okay, so step 1. This is the golden rule, really. You have to play where you are stronger. Your plan should always be focused on the part of the board where you already have some kind of edge or at least the potential to create one. This is the foundation for pretty much all good chess. Right. That is the big question, isn't it? How do you look at this complex mess of pieces and actually figure out where your strengths are? Well, luckily for us, there's a really handy framework for that. We can break down any position using these 4 criteria. First and simplest is material. Just count the pieces. Who's up? Who's down? Easy. Second, and this one is huge, is piece activity. Whose pieces are actually doing more? Think about a rook that's trapped behind its own pawns versus one sitting on a wide open file. That's a massive difference. Third, king safety. Is one king sitting cozy and safe while the other one's feeling a bit of a draft? And finally, pawn structure. You're looking for weaknesses here. Things like pawns that are isolated or doubled up. Those are perfect targets for a long-term plan. Okay, so you've looked at the board, you've used those 4 criteria, and you've found your advantage. Maybe it's that your pieces are way more active, or maybe your opponent has a really weak pawn. Great! The next step is to decide how you're going to use that advantage. And generally, your plans are going to fall into 2 big categories. You've got your fast, tactical plans. These are all about immediate threats, usually a direct attack on the enemy king. Think pawn storms, sacrifices, total chaos. And then you have your slow, strategic plans. These are much more patient. It's about slowly improving your position, maybe trading off one of their key defensive pieces, or just applying this nagging long-term pressure. Let's look at a fast plan first. Think of this like a blitz attack. You've identified that you have a real chance to go after their king, maybe because you've castled on opposite sides of the board. The goal here is simple. Create threats and do it now. Force your opponent to react to you. A typical attack like this has 3 main stages. First, you launch a pawn storm. You use your pawns like a battering ram to just smash open the files and diagonals leading to their king. Step 2, as those lines open up, you bring in the heavy hitters, your queen, your rooks, your knights. Everybody joins the party. And finally, step 3 is to create real, concrete threats that make your opponents stop everything they're doing just to defend. All right, let's pump the brakes a bit and switch gears to a slow, strategic plan. This is your go-to when there's no immediate killer checkmate on the board. Your advantage here is more subtle. Maybe you've got a slightly better pawn structure, or you've spotted a really important defensive piece of theirs that you can target. The process here is way more methodical. First, you identify a single target. A perfect example is their fianchettoed bishop, that bishop tucked away on the long diagonal that's defending the king. Your entire plan might just be to trade that one piece off. So step 2, you start maneuvering your pieces, not for an attack, but just to force that trade. Then, once that key defender is off the board, that's when you pivot. Step 3 is to exploit all the weak squares they left behind. It's this beautiful, patient squeeze. So we've covered a lot, but how do you actually put it all together in a real game? Let's boil it all down into a super simple 3-step system that you can use every single time. Think of it as your chess compass. Here it is. This is your action plan. Every single time it's your move in the middle game, you do these 3 things. 1. Evaluate. Use those 4 criteria, material, activity, king safety, pawn structure, to find your advantage. 2. Choose. Based on that evaluation, decide, are we going for a quick knockout punch or a slow, strategic squeeze? And 3, and this one is so important, execute and blunder check. We've all been there.
You come up with this brilliant plan, you make the move, and then you realize you just hung your queen. So before you move, just do one final safety check. Am I blundering anything? Am I walking into a simple trap? That final check will save you so many games, I promise.
And we'll leave it with this piece of wisdom from the great Emanuel Lasker. A plan helps you find a good move, but it's that discipline to pause, to look one more time, and to blunder check. That is what turns a good move into a winning one. Your plan is the roadmap, but careful driving is what gets you to your destination.